They optimized my bottlenecks, removed redundant pointer checks. The database's sub-selects are indexed to a T. They shaved the microseconds down till there was nothing left to count. I instantaneously found the answer in a breeze. But I've been feeling so alone. Nobody here is calling from a function or a phone. If I'm dead code, let me die.
It's the Monday Morning Show. Today is June 22nd, 2015. I'm Ken LaSalle. That's Josh Woodward singing Dead Code. You can find out more about Josh at joshwoodward.com. You can find out more about me at kenlasalle.com. This week was going to feature my second backpacking trip in a series of 3 weekends, but that was not to be, and we'll get to that shortly. First, as many of you know, this past weekend was marred by more gun violence in America. More innocents killed because we're crazy. We're gun nuts. We're just too damned violent. Take your pick. I don't want to focus too much on the deaths in Charleston, among other places, but I will say this. People against gun control are out of their minds. The opposite of control is unfettered fanaticism, be it in your beliefs, your corporations, or your guns. Anyone with common sense understands some control is necessary, but the NRA has convinced a huge portion of our population that somehow guns, these little machines built solely for the purpose of causing death and pain, are necessary, important, even unassailable. And that's crazy. Point 2. White people. Listen, I'm about as white as you can get without liquid paper, but I think white people should hang their heads in shame because of our association with so many whack jobs. And we have more than our share, believe me. From white politicians who can't see beyond their own skin color, to white corporate heads who just don't care, and all us white folk in between, we are far from superior to anyone. We should take a look around and keep in mind how long we've been in charge. Think you're all that special now? When I saw reports of the violence in Charleston, I just wanted to slap the nearest white person. I mean, other than me. I wanted to slap the face of every American who did not recognize that we have a problem, that we need to change. And maybe we can begin with shame, a condition that has become so ignored, I don't know if we even know what it is anymore. Shame is defined as a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. We should feel ashamed by the violence our fellow Americans perpetuate, both in our names in foreign lands and when we commit acts of violence upon each other. Until that day comes, we'll never solve our issues with inequality, hate, and violence. At some point, we've got to take this personally. After seeing the terrible reports out of Charleston, all I wanted to do was get my backpack and leave what we call civilization far behind, if only for one night. Sadly, however, this was not to be the case. I received a call just a day before from the San Gorgonio Ranger Station, letting me know that all backpacking permits were being revoked due to the fire up in the San Gorgonio wilderness. Now, that fire has destroyed over 15,000 acres. Torching forests that hadn't seen fire in many years. Beautiful, lush forests. And I know because although the fire started far away from the San Gorgonio wilderness, it has since spread into some of the areas where I hiked just last weekend. It burned right through the area where I had been permitted to hike this weekend. And I'm afraid my permit will be revoked for next weekend as well, since that trip would have crossed a large area of land now burned to the ground by the fire. It's strange to think, where I was just a week ago is now gone or nearly gone. I told my wife it wasn't a great way to start this whole process of solo backpacking. that tragedy strikes wherever I go. I guess I'll have to wait and see how long that continues. Hopefully not long. I've got 10 months until my short test voyage up the Pacific Crest Trail from Campos to Big Bear. Before then, I plan to try a few longer backpacking trips, and I would be very pleased if disasters didn't follow me. You know? Sadly, though, disaster has been following all of us. Just look at how forest fires have increased with global warming. The science behind this is very straightforward in California. Less rain means drier trees. And even without the help of people starting fires, there are natural reasons for fires to start. And we can't put out every one of them. Wildfires burnt less than 2 million acres in the U.S. in 1990, just 25 years ago. And I remember people talking even then about how much longer the fire season was growing. In 2012, wildfires burnt down over 8 million acres. Fewer trees absorb fewer greenhouse gases, and the cycle gets worse and worse. This is my reason for hitting the PCT as early as I can, which is turning out to be 2017. And hopefully that'll happen. I would like to see the wild parts of at least these few states before they are truly all gone, either wiped out by fire or pollution or development or whatever other way we have to destroy the beauty around us. We've certainly proved very adept at destroying beauty, that's for sure. According to a recent study published by Science Advances, our planet is entering its 6th mass extinction event, caused mostly by, you guessed it, human beings. In recent times, we've killed off as many species as usually go extinct in 10,000 years. How did we do this? By polluting, developing, growing, greeding, and needing. We've abused so much of our planet that it's difficult for other animals to live on it with us. I may have talked about this before, but bottom line, there's just too damned many of us. When I was born in 1965, just over 3 billion human beings inhabited the Earth. We doubled that before the 21st century, and now there are nearly 7.5 billion of us, with hundreds of thousands more born every day. You can talk all you want about recycling, alternative fuels, cleaning the ocean. There are many ways we can help make this planet better, but none of them will work unless we cut our numbers. How crazy would it be to live on a planet with as many people as there were in 1960, with 3 billion people? Cutting our numbers by more than half certainly wouldn't leave us extinct, and it might make our planet a bit more livable for the ecosystems we rely on so very much. So, this has been a happy show so far, and I'm afraid things won't get much happier because I'm skipping the cool thing for the week. You see, this week a hero of mine passed away. His name was Phil Austin, and he was one of the members of the Firesign Theater. He's the second of the 4 or 5 man group to leave us, preceded by Peter Bergman. Now there are as many Firesigns remaining as there are Beatles. And as my heroes die off one by one, I'm beginning to realize that this is what old age is about. You see, I'm going to be turning 50 soon, and my life seems increasingly filled with death. 2 of my 3 parents have died, friends have died, and heroes have died. I was first introduced to the Firesign Theater in 1982 or 3 at the Valley High School Auditorium. The guy who ran the facility, a great guy named Mike, put "Don't crush that dwarf, hand me the pliers" on the PA system. And I remember him telling me as he dropped the needle, "Don't say anything, just listen." And it changed my life. These guys weren't just good at what they did, they were geniuses. They created worlds for our minds to explore, and even when something wasn't funny, it was still interesting, important, and all too memorable. I've turned all my friends onto the Firesign Theater, and if you haven't heard them, you really should. Some of their work can get a bit dated, but if you grew up when I did, or even if you're 10 years younger or older, you should get it. I can't thank Phil and Peter and David and Phil enough, and I'll leave it at that. But you know, I do have one thing you may think is cool, maybe not. I work out of my home studio here in Anaheim, California, and with my Snowball microphone. I haven't really been able to find a windscreen due to the microphone's strange, bulbous shape. Then recently, I saw a person using a gym sock stretched over their mic as the screen, and, sure enough, I used a very, 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 very clean sock, stretched it over the microphone, and here we are. Just another step closer to being an actual thing. Not bad. The next few episodes will be brought to you by Wormfood Island, coming in July from Vagabondage Press. Are you ready for a new kind of zombie? The kind that isn't mindless? The kind that's hungry for much more than just flesh? The zombies in Wormfood Island are being eaten away from the inside by worms that change their body chemistry, change who they are, turn their deepest desires into perversions unlike any you've ever seen from any other undead. Wormfood Island is coming soon, and if you like zombies, you're going to love taking a bite out of these. Look for Wormfood Island in ebook and paperback in July on Amazon and wherever books are sold online. And that's the Monday Morning Show for June 22nd, 2015. Be sure to check back next week for another episode. Head on down to kenlasalle.com for all the latest. You can find my ebooks, paperbacks, and audiobooks all over, etc., etc., etc. You have yourself a terrific week. Be good to yourself. Be kind to others. Let's make this world a better place.
Nobody here has called me from a function or a phone. If I'm dead, code, let me die. 'Cause I'm only wasting memory alive. If I'm dead, code, wipe the drive. 'Cause I'd rather be a memory than a ghost who's still alive.